get it. It's the Eternal Underground production. Shout out in the zone, baby. Y'all know what it is, man. You're now tuned in to the Hodge Podge Sports Show with a picks on target sharper than Katniss 17 with a crossbow. Before you place a bet, better check with Patrick and Sean first. Unless your aim is that, holler your vibes. Check the stores first. Forget the mother stations, we got you covered. Don't waste your time. Ain't no need to straddle the fence. Now you can take a side with competition where you think a gazelle can take a line. If you in opposition, just listen, or it will change your mind. So you catch him right here. Every show a banger like Ray Lewis at the quarterback. Got open forms, you got a topic, well, will address it. But don't come on here talking that nonsense and don't know nothing. No hesitation, get put in your place. End the discussion. Ain't no sugarcoating over here, keep it 100. Got a question, we gon' come with the answer like Iris. If you ain't know then, you know now just what time it is. Sean, reppin' the city of brotherly love. Stand up, Super Bowl 52 champions. Baltimore in the building. Mixing with your sports pack. Got Charm City on his back. Putting on a verdict like Cal Ripken Jr. back with the Orioles. Any sport we bound to die with students. Knowledge from these college students. Follow and shout out to you. Without this, it's impossible. You rock with us, we rock with you. I love for us, I love for you. Much love to the fan page and follow the fan page. It's deeper than sports talk. It's something like family. Ever and be more. Let's get you a crab cake. Oh, you in Philly, say less. Scratch you with cheesecake. Now run into the sports fanatics that you know online. www.ngscsports.com. Yeah. Let me say that again one more time. That's www.ngscsports.com. Yeah. Y'all know what time it is, man. HPS time it is. Let's get it. You're tuned in. Or reach. Cause sports breed passion. Ain't no better place to let it out than NGSG Sports, where we never stop.
How is it going, everybody out there? I am Sean Harrison. Usually to my left or to my right will be Patrick Hodge, but my man's taking a call it a mental health day for the day. Hope all's good in his world. We'll see him again next week, as we do every album. We're switching over to Sundays, not Saturdays. Switching over to every Sundays here on the Hodge Podge Sports Show. Before we get started on what we're going to get rolling in today, we're of course going to talk about the earlier game with Green Bay and Tampa Bay. We'll get into NBA talk, but we're going to stay real heavy on football as well. That's clear as day. We're going to get real heavy on football, especially with the game going on right now with Kansas City and Buffalo. But first, let's pay some bills. The Hodge Podge Sports Show is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience at your favorite sports venue. Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? So, everybody, we have a lot to talk about, as we do every single week. And this might be a week that I didn't make a long list on what I wanted to talk about. I made it 2 things long. I want to talk about football, and I want to talk about basketball. We'll start off with the earlier game with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Green Bay Packers. And what I want to know from mostly everybody out there is, what was your general feel of the game? Is Tom Brady really that guy that just comes in and destroys all of our childhood heroes? You know what I mean? Like think about, everybody said when he was in the AFC, oh, he had such an easy path. All he did was, he just played the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets nonstop, and blah, 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 blah. But then forget that he had to go through a whole playoff run every single year and to get to the Super Bowl. And he comes to the NFC, and it looks just as easy going through Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. I can't say Washington because he didn't really have to go through Washington. He went through some guy we never heard of and/or we'll probably ever see again. And I just want to know, first half he was, second half not so much. I just want to know, I think this is the kind of the proof in the pudding here, where we can now say without a shadow of the doubt that Tom Brady is the better pickup between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, right? This is no longer a discussion anymore. We now see that Tom Brady's still Super Bowl and the Patriots are not. So that made, Tom Brady was the element that made Bill Belichick roll. It's pretty incredible actually. Like when you think about it, because everybody wanted to say Tom Brady's. Where's all those people in the beginning of the year that were saying Tom Brady's assistant quarterback? Where are they hiding at now? Why aren't they coming out the woodworks now? Why do they stay in hiding? Because Tom Brady did what he does every single year. And if you want to really question anything about what happened in the game today, let's question the fact that on 3rd and goal, Aaron Rodgers didn't run for it. On 4th and goal, when you have 4 minutes left of the game, you're giving the ball back to Tom Brady with under 4 minutes left. That's a lot of time for arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. I think when they got the ball back, I don't know off the top of my head, I think it was right under 4 minute mark, and you're giving Tom Brady the ball back with right under 4 minutes to go, right? That seems pretty crazy to me to give him that much time. I don't know what Matt LaFleur was thinking there. I can't give the greatest quarterback of all time that much time left on the clock. Like you logically just can't do that, right? And I'm just a novice fan, so Danny was saying, everybody should know Danny by now. Danny was saying that is it a young coach thing? I was like, I'm not a young coach. I'm just your average Joe Schmo here, right? Like I just talk about this stuff on Sundays sometimes. That's all I do. I don't do anything special. So one second. I got somebody that actually wants to join me here tonight. Let's see if this. So if I could see it and it's that easy, why couldn't he? And I think that's the part that's the most frustrating is that, and you want to get on top of anything else. Let's talk about how they had 3 turnovers in the second half. Green Bay, that is, had 3 turnovers in the second half, and out of those 3 turnovers, they only accumulated 6 points. That's not a lot. You have 3 turnovers in the second half. Now, keep in mind, it was back-to-back drives in Tom Brady's interceptions. And you can only come out of 6 points out of that. Now, listen, I'm all for saying I'm a strong believer, and this might make the feed blow up or not, we'll find out. I'm a strong believer that Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback I've ever seen play talent-wise. There's not a more talented quarterback I've ever seen play the game than Aaron Rodgers. And that I think the part is that part I think is the most frustrating. That Aaron Rodgers is so good, and then that's what we get. We get that when the biggest game. Now, do we want to say that was a choke, or do we want to say that his defense didn't show up? Because that's still 31 points, but then they got that, those back-to-back, those 3 interceptions in a row. So I'm not sure which way you want to slice it up, which way you want to work it, but I'm saying that I can't put this on anybody else but Aaron Rodgers. You had 3 straight chances to score. Right? 3 straight chances to score. And in those 3 straight chances, you came up with 6 points. And I'm going to bring up this man here who's got, he got the Falcons in the background. Oh, my God.
Hey, what's up, Sean? How you doing, man?
Ray, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Just living life, man. Watching this AFC Championship game, man. I figure I'd jump on and join for a little bit, man, because I know we got a lot to talk about with this NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I mean, this is turning out to not even be – this is starting to look like the NFC Championship game, just same way as KC's rolling here. But what would like? I want to get your overall feel on what the NFC Championship game from this morning or from this afternoon, I should say, and more particularly, what was the main reason that Green Bay lost that game?
It all comes down to the play calling. It all comes down to that last sequence because I said it before and I said it again today, and a lot of people didn't agree with me when I said this. Green Bay dominated the game. I mean, yes, Tom Brady does what Tom Brady does, but, they was only down 14-10 before that big play before the half was over. But if you look at the second half, Green Bay dominated that game. They got 3 turnovers. Aaron Rodgers was being Aaron Rodgers. He was smoking. You got to look at that drive where LaFleur called for a field goal. And then I got to put some blame on Aaron Rodgers as well because, it's a 3rd down play. It's 3rd and goal, and you had a clear path to if you don't get the touchdown, you at least get a first and goal where you're pretty much at the 2 yard line, the 1 yard line. So I think a lot of blame is placed on Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur because you saw the one clip where Aaron Rodgers was telling the defense, "Hey, give me the ball back, and I'm gonna make something happen," and he didn't. Green Bay got the ball back 3 times, and they failed to produce anything. So I look at it like that. Tom Brady is Tom Brady, but Tom Brady didn't dominate like we seen before. He looked like pretty much like Jameis Winston in the second half. So I think it's more. I think it's more testament to the Tampa Bay defense and Todd Bowles, who called a hell of a game today. But to say that Tom Brady dominated and he's going to the Super Bowl, it's pretty much like what Peyton Manning did when he won his Super Bowl. He didn't do anything too much. The defense pretty much carried him to that Super Bowl. So yeah,
that's a very good comparison there. Saying but it's funny that you mentioned Todd Bowles, and I was going to bring his name up because he is somebody that I think should undoubtedly get another head coaching job. And as these play, he didn't just call a good game; he's been calling good playoffs, and that's what gets you. I thought ultimately would get you a head coaching job, right? Is that when you are good in the playoffs, that excels you to a head coaching job again, right? And he took the interview with the Eagles, but I didn't think the Eagles were going to hire him no matter what. I think they don't want a defensive minded coach; they want an offensive minded coach. I knew that was going to happen there. But I find it rather strange that him, as well, because this isn't the first time he shut Aaron Rodgers down. I don't want to say shut Aaron Rodgers down, but had a good game plan versus Aaron Rodgers because he did it earlier in the year when they really throttled at Green Bay. He's one of the guys I think undoubtedly needs another shot as a head coach. And they always say that when you become a head coach for the second time, that's the time that you really has it all clicks for you. And plus, for the first time was the Jets, and that shouldn't even count against your resume. It's the Jets. Right. Who cares? But
I know Brian's gonna get mad about that. I already know he's gonna get mad about that. So.
Listen, I just find it very strange that I think Eric Bieniemy has a hush-hush deal with Houston where he's going to be the head coach there no matter what. But I find it very interesting that another team didn't want to give him a shot as head coach again. You saw all these vacancies open, and there was 8 vacancies, and 7 of them have been filled. Only 1 left. And it's Houston, and I strongly believe it's going to be Eric Bieniemy. They're kind of just waiting for. I think it's all on Sunday night. They can announce after this game. They can announce it.
Yeah. So, and then honestly, I think, I kind of agree with you to an extent. As far as Todd Bowles. I think Todd Bowles is a great coordinator. I don't think he's a really good head coach. And it could be. You know what? You know who Todd Bowles reminds me of? He reminds me of Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips is a hell of a coordinator, but I don't think he's a good head coach. I think he's more suitable to be a defensive coordinator because that's what he's good at. So, do I want him to get another head coaching job? Absolutely, because the odds of being a black successful head coach, like say a Mike Tomlin, or even a Leslie Frazier, is rare. So I would love for him to get another job to be a head coach, but I don't see him being a great one because, you've seen the success even in Tampa Bay before New York. In Tampa Bay, he didn't really have good success in Tampa Bay. So I mean, granted he he led the Bucs to a 10-6 record, but they still didn't make the playoffs, and that's circumstantial because the NFL has their own rules. But I think Todd Bowles is more suitable being a defensive coordinator because I know the Falcons looked at him a couple times before they settled on Quinn. And I think they looked at him a little bit more before we hired Arthur Smith to be our head coach. So I think Todd Bowles is more suitable to be kind of like what Wade Phillips was, a great defensive coordinator, but not a good head coach.
I agree, but I also agree with what Brian said here. Jets fired Bowles too soon. I agree. I think, especially with how hard it is for an African-American male or an African-American in general to make it in the NFL, that once they get to that ultimate peak, we've seen it nonstop. That basically they have the shortest leash possible, leash possible. God, I had to get that out.
You seen Carpenter in Arizona. He only had 1 year.
Yeah.
He only had 1 year before the Cardinals went to Kingsbury. So I mean, and I will say this: the Rooney Rule is trash. It would always be trash.
Don't try.
So they need to go ahead and eliminate that because I think Brian said it. I think he said it on his post or he inboxed me about it. The Texans, I think the Texans or the Eagles, they interviewed a coach, a potential head coach in casual clothes. Like, you ever think somebody like a Frazier or any minority coach would have that same opportunity that say a white head coach would have?
So the coach that they interviewed in casual clothes was the coach they hired, Sirianni.
Yeah.
And it's funny though because here's my with the Eagles they interviewed Deuce Staley, Todd Bowles, and they extended an offer to interview Eric Bieniemy. And people don't know is Eric Bieniemy turned down the opportunity to interview with the Eagles. He said he didn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when it first clicked in my head. Where I'm like, all right, well then he's got a job at Houston. Like, why else turn down a head coaching job, especially being a black coach coordinator? Like, you want any chance you can get just to show you can do it. So I think that's why first it clicked immediately that Bohemian's got the Houston job. But yeah, I agree with you, man. It's insane. The Rooney Rule is trash. It always has been trash, and that's why it takes so much longer. It's insane that it takes so much longer for black coaches to get into the NFL. When you look at Sean McVay, look at this Serini guy, look at the coach for Green Bay today, Matt LaFleur. I mean, look how young these guys are. Now you're talking about Eric Bieniemy, who's I believe 59 years old, trying to get his first crack at a head coaching job. You're talking about here Deuce Staley, he's 49, trying to get his first crack at a head coaching job. Like, this is a forever problem in the NFL, and it won't ever get fixed until, honestly, I don't think it will ever be fixed until we see more either black-owned teams or black teams that have black general managers.
True. And Jones, it was Steve Wilkes. My bad. It was Steve Wilkes. So, but yeah, and the thing about it is that, you know, I know we talk about the minority situation, the Rooney Rule and everything, but I mean, you gotta look at it. You gotta look at what Tomlin's done in Pittsburgh. I mean, yes, granted, Pittsburgh has had their flame outs, but the man is successful. Yes. I mean, consider the fact that he lost Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, two of his best players, and they still are making a run with an old ass quarterback in Roethlisberger, and they're still making a run. You gotta look at it something like that. And I know everybody says the enemy could be that guy, but I think honestly, that he's probably gonna wait until Andy Reid finally steps down and he's the head coach away. Kind of like what McDaniels is in New England with Belichick. But at the same time, I think that what do you have to lose? I mean, look at the Giants. They went and got a special teams guy who's their coach. You know what I'm saying? Give the man a chance at least to just make. And if he doesn't succeed, then okay, he'll be like Todd Bowles. He'll be like, he'll go back to being an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. But at least give the man a chance to be successful at least.
So here's my only thing with you saying that he's going to take over for Andy Reid is I don't see Andy Reid retiring anytime soon. Mm-hmm. So like I just said, Bohemian's 59. So how long is he gonna have to? If he's essentially waiting for Reid to retire, I got to look up how old Andy Reid is. But I think he's low 70s, high 60s. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's thinking about retiring anytime soon.
Well, that'll definitely be the case if Kansas City wins another Super Bowl. That'll definitely be the case. But at the same time, it's just you gotta factor in health. You gotta factor in circumstances, especially with the corona going on. You gotta factor that all in. I think Bieniemy deserves a chance to be a head coach, but like you said, Sean, things got to change in the NFL, and if it doesn't change, then we'll see guys who doesn't have any experience. I'm not speaking as far as black coaches. I'm talking about in general. You're gonna see a lot of guys who doesn't have any experience at all get these head coaching jobs because the way that is looking right now, either one of us could be a head coach because a lot of these head coaches don't have experience. And a lot of these coaches don't have the wherewithal to be a head coach, but they're still getting jobs. So I mean, what can you do at this point? Because as an NFL owner, you're gonna make the decisions that's best for your team. And I understand that because you're the one that's signing the checks. You're the one that's getting all these billions of dollars to run this team. So you're gonna make decisions that's best for your team, but at least give these people a chance.
I agree, and I actually want to touch back on what Brian said about not wanting the Houston job. More importantly, the problems in Houston right now, and that's with Deshaun Watson. Where our resident Houston Texan fan, my brother Shane Harrison, will tell you, oh, he doesn't want to leave. Well, there's an old saying: when there's enough smoke somewhere, then there's got to be fire, right?
Facts.
If you have 30 people reporting the same thing, then something's got to be true, right? So let's take it for face value here. Let's just say that Deshaun Watson is unhappy in Houston, which if I was him, I would be pretty unhappy too. Let's just say he wants to be more involved in the coaching search, and they are not making him that, which again would irritate me too if I was Deshaun Watson. You're coming up on a contract negotiation, if I'm correct, with Deshaun Watson. He is coming up to the end of his rookie contract where he's about to re-up for money. So you have two choices if you're Houston, right? At this point, you either pay this man Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes type money, or you risk losing him for free to where you're either going to have to continuously franchise tag him or he just walks on you. Because if I'm Houston, I can't get rid of Deshaun Watson. He's all I have right now. If you franchise quarterbacks don't come along every day. You wait years for teams to get franchise quarterbacks. Look at the Jets, look at Jacksonville, look at Tennessee, who I still don't think has a franchise quarterback. You can look all around the league. There's teams that are begging for franchise quarterbacks. So what do you think Houston should do in this scenario?
You know what? Honestly, I think the way, and even LaDonna said it, the fact that he's not speaking at all, and the fact that he said that it doesn't matter if they hire an enemy, he still wants out of Houston, that says a whole lot. And it goes back to what happened when they traded DeAndre Hopkins. You trade away my best target, my best receiver, my best playmaker, and then you expect me to, perform miracles. And don't get me wrong, I do kind of blame Deshaun Watson for this as well, because if he had these problems before, he shouldn't have signed the extension. But I think Houston kind of pulled the okie doke with him signing that extension, and then they go make all these moves. Because correct me if I'm wrong, they did all these moves after he signed the extension. Correct me if I'm wrong. I may be wrong. I don't know. I don't know if they traded DeAndre before Watson decided. Yeah, I don't think Watson signed that extension after or before DeAndre got traded. But, and I say it before and I say it again, I've said it on plenty of my shows, I'm strictly pro player, because the owners do not care about their players. As great as we talk about Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and all these great quarterbacks, the owners have all the power. They have all the power to make things happen. And LaDonna said it, Hopkins was gone before he signed the extension. So I do kind of
September 5th is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I understand. So Deshaun Watson gets some of this donkey too, because he did sign the extension. You know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, I see why he has that no trade clause, because he doesn't want to get traded to a team that's not going to compete. He wants to compete. He wants to win the championship, especially when you got guys like Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen who are accelerating or being great playing in championship games, and he can't even get to the wild card. So I totally understand Deshaun Watson's plight, and I understand his grievances. You know what I'm saying? So if it's me personally, if I was the owner of the Texans right now, and I said it before because I'm a Falcons fan, and people said it, and I said it before, as much as I like Julio Jones and I think he's a great receiver, if the offer is right, I will pull the trigger. I know the Dolphins offered Tua and a couple first-round picks to acquire Deshaun Watson. I would definitely listen to it. And I would definitely listen to a lot of other teams that are vying for Deshaun Watson. The Jets, I'm sure the Jets are been ringing off the line for Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun Watson is a great player. I mean, he was the NFL's leading passer this year. He had more touchdowns and interceptions, and they still went 4-12. So if it's me personally, I would definitely listen to the trade offers for Deshaun Watson.
Man, you as a Falcons fan should know that passing yards mean nothing.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But at the same time, Deshaun Watson is not a bad quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback. And I said I put him in the group. You know, everybody talks about Mahomes and Allen and Lamar Jackson, But Deshaun Watson is good. The reason why he's not talked about because his team is trash. So I
Yeah.
would definitely entertain offers, especially if it benefits my team. Because look at it, the Texans are over the cap. They have no first round picks for I think 2 or 3 years. So what do you have to lose if you trade your centerpiece to get better?
So here, and it's funny because you brought up the Jets. The Jets have a very interesting, are in a very interesting scenario. And Brian Jones, I'm sure, is going to chime in a minute once I start talking about his squad like this. But they have a very interesting number 2 pick here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And many people believe, myself included, they already have a quarterback. They have a quarterback that they put a lot into, right? They drafted this quarterback very high.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the Jets. I have 2 options here. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I can draft an offensive tackle out of some random school that I don't care about. I can trade back in the draft and accumulate more picks, which I think is the right move for them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's a team called the Houston Texans, who seem to have an unhappy quarterback on their hands.
Right.
I mean, Deshaun Watson for the 2nd overall pick.
It's a pretty even trade. It's throwing some first round picks. It's a pretty even trade.
Mix some stuff up. Sam Bradford will probably be on the move to Houston at that point. Not Sam Bradford. I mean, Sam Darnold goes to Houston.
Right.
You mix in some more mix up future picks or whatever it may be.
Definitely.
I think, and I think it came out today that he wouldn't mind going to the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see. I think that's a decent move for the Jets. They secure, because how many games did we watch this year? Houston games, that is, where it seemed like Deshaun was the only player on offense. Like too often.
Well, when you trade away your best playmaker, of course he's going to be the only person on offense because you trade away your best playmaker. And DeAndre Hopkins. That was a stupid trade, and I say it all the time. That's probably the 2nd worst trade in NFL history.
Well, okay, but what did that trade get Arizona?
It was a lot closer than what the Texans did. It really did.
But because everybody, I always hear, listen, it was a bad trade. I completely agree.
It was a bad trade.
But the thing with receivers are, and this is what I always try to get across to people, is that star wide receivers rarely make a difference in the NFL when it comes to win and losses.
And you know what? I kind of agree with you, but then again, I don't, because when you got a receiver like look at what Jerry Rice did. Jerry Rice was a game changer. Terrell Owens was a game changer. Randy Moss was a game changer. DeAndre Hopkins was a game changer. And consider the fact that, and I won't say they don't make a difference, but when you look at that Texans team with the DeAndre Hopkins, when DeAndre Hopkins left, who was their best player besides Deshaun Watson that he could trust to throw it to? It's not many. It wasn't.
So the list, the 4 players you just named, right? How many Super Bowls are between them?
Let's see. I think Jerry Rice has all of them pretty much.
That's my point. Is like there's rare breeds like Jerry Rice, and then here's my other theory. So like let's look back at the last. I don't want to even say the last 5. Let's look back at the last 2 Super Bowls, right? The best wide receiver in that is Tyreek Hill.
True.
Would you consider Tyreek Hill to be, I would even say, a top 5 wide receiver in football?
No, but I will say this though. In Super Bowl 51, and I hate to bring this up, in the Super Bowl 51, Julio Jones did make a play to get us in winning position. Now, before you say anything, after the fact, the Falcons kind of blew their load, and then you saw what happened. But if you have a receiver on the perimeter that can make plays to make your team successful, you keep that. You saw with Aaron Rodgers, even though they lost today, you saw how Devontae Adams commanded the coverage, and then you saw other players succeed. You saw Tom Brady today. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, those guys. Having Tom Brady. If you ask Tom Brady today how it felt to have weapons that can actually play ball, he'll give you a whole different answer. So I mean, I'm not saying that receivers like make the game, blow the game wide open, but it's a good luxury to have an elite receiver who can command coverage and make plays.
Right. You're right, but my thing is, and just the point I try to drag home is that teams that usually win are the teams that have your I'm going to go to my Eagles, Alshon Jeffries, your guys that aren't Julian Edelman's for the Patriots. And to keep in mind, Tom Brady did say that Chris Godwin has the best hands of any receiver he's ever played with. And you've seen him drop like 4 balls in the last 2 games.
Right, exactly.
Itself.
When you got pressure from the GOAT, like that, it happens. So yeah.
And this is the best. I mean, nobody can argue this is the best group of receivers he's ever had. Besides,
absolutely.
Even arguably Randy Moss and Wes Welker can match that. But I think this full group of receivers that he has now is the best he's ever had, hands down.
I agree. But it all goes back. Remember the Super Bowl in Jacksonville where Terrell Owens basically almost won y'all that game?
Yeah.
You got to have you got to have receivers that can make plays. You have to, because if you don't have receivers to make plays, you're not going to win. You're not.
The diva receivers of the leagues don't ever win.
True.
That's what Jerry Rice was the greatest receiver we've ever seen play. He wasn't a diva. He wasn't a diva.
He wasn't. He just wanted to work hard and play. So
Terrell Owens was. All these big name guys. I can't really say Julio Jones is a diva.
He's not a diva, but I get what you're going. I get where you're going.
Diva, but Odell Beckham Jr. diva,
big diva.
Antonio Brown diva,
big time diva.
You know what I mean? Like all these big name receivers they're usually divas, and those are the guys that usually don't win. They usually have the star quarterback and the mediocre receiving groups with a good defense that usually winds up winning, because at the end of the day, defense is what I always say. Defense always
championship. It wins championship.
Plain and simple.
And then, like I said, you're absolutely right, because I've seen Tom Brady win Super Bowls with substitute teachers and trash men. So I mean, hey, it is what it is. So I totally agree. But it doesn't hurt to have an elite receiver that can make a play for you.
I want to say Panthers versus Broncos. Cam didn't have the best, but we were the most high-powered offense going into that defense, and run game negated so much.
And I disagree with that, because the Broncos had a great defense. So that argument to me is negated, because the Broncos are the reason why Peyton Manning has 2 rings instead of 1.
Because people forget how good that defense was with Von Miller at the helm, and
that secondary.
Chris Harris, and who was the other?
Aqib Talib, Chris Harris. And I don't know the 2 secondary. I don't know the 2 safeties names, but they were just. We don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it, right? You don't have to worry about it at all.
That's
right.
Like I said, you had Von Miller in the middle, and I believe DeMarcus Ware was there too at the end of his career.
He was. Yes, and then I think they had Wolf and Jackson manning the middle. So I mean, the Broncos defense was solid.
Yeah,
very solid.
And it's also keep in mind that I think when Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl, they won like it was 30. I can't remember the score exactly, but I think the defense scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they got an interception, I think, and then the Broncos scored.
Was over Cam and ran that in.
And then when Von Miller strip sacked Cam Newton, and they got a touchdown off that. Yeah, absolutely. So
defense put more points up than the offense in that Super Bowl. That's why Von Miller won MVP, that Super Bowl MVP, and not Peyton Manning. Now, granted, Peyton Manning did have Demaryius Thomas that year, and oh god, who was the
Demaryius Thomas. You had Eric Decker. Eric Decker.
White dude.
And I will say this, and I just want to put this out here. Whenever the number 1 offense and the number 1 defense played in the Super Bowl, the number 1 defense is 6-1.
Yep.
Just putting that out there. No. I take that back. 6-2, because the Chiefs won last year with the number 1 offense, and the Niners had the number 1 defense. So 6-2. So the numbers don't lie.
Yep. And just think about this: the back-to-back years. Did Denver went in there with the number 1 offense, played Seattle, got that ass smashed. The year right after that,
they had the number 1 defense. Carolina had the number 1 defense, and you saw what happened.
That was the second you said that's the first thing my head went.
You saw what happened last year with Mahomes and the Niners. The Chiefs ended up winning. So
and it's funny, like looking at it right now, and you can argue that Buffalo. Where is this defense? I'm going to switch gears now. I'm going to go right to this AFC game here. Where is this Kansas City defense been all year?
It's just like Brian said it last year. Brian said it this time. He said it last year. The Kansas City defense is peaking at the right time, because the defense wasn't that good last year, and they peak come playoff time. This is what the Chiefs do. It's kind of like, somebody said it. Postseason matters more than regular season. It's absolutely true. You got, I mean, and then think about it. Let's look back. Let's go back in history. Let's look at the 06, 07 Colts defense when they couldn't stop a nosebleed. They get back. They get back Bob Sanders.
Yep.
And then their whole defense just changes.
And Dwight
You know
Freeney.
what I'm saying? Dwight Freeney comes back. Bob Sanders come back. You got your MV, you got your defensive player of the year coming back, and that whole Colts defense just changed altogether. So it doesn't matter how you do in the regular season. When it comes playoff time, that Chiefs defense showed up. It shows why Chris Jones gets paid $20 million a year. It shows that the Honey Badger is why the Kansas City Chiefs picked him up and signed him to that deal. It shows you why they picked up Frank Clark, who was a pretty decent pass rusher in Seattle, who's doing noise right now. It doesn't matter what you do in the regular season. It was matter when the lights are bright, the Super Bowl's on the line, and you need your best to show up.
Dude, and I remember they got killed when they signed the Honey Badger because everybody thought he was done. Everybody thought he was washed up.
He didn't really have a good season in Houston, and then he goes to Kansas City and balls out.
Yeah, I mean that could have just been simple. He didn't want to play there. You know what I mean?
That's true too. Nobody wants to play in Houston right now. Nobody really wants to play in Houston.
So I mean, it blows my mind because more so or not, they're messing up my parlay right now because I had Allen going over.
I lost some money today with Tampa Bay being Green Bay, so I'm right there with you, bro.
Oh my God, man. Oh well, is what it is. But I just didn't see that. Like every year, this is what I get for betting against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, right? Like this, they're the new Tom Brady, Bill Belichick of the AFC right now, and they're going to continue to do this every single year. It looks like.
Facts. I really think that if the way that Mahomes, this is my scenario. If Mahomes beats Brady in the Super Bowl and he stays healthy and consistent, he will go down as the greatest of all time.
Ooh, that's a tall task.
He will. It really is. It really is. But you gotta look at it like this. Everybody, me personally, I think Marino, the way he revolutionized the quarterback position, I think he's the GOAT to me. I think Tom Brady is the more accomplished quarterback because of what he's done, and I give him that. But at the same time, to see the way Mahomes, what Mahomes is doing early in his career, a lot of quarterbacks can't say they played in 3 straight AFC Championship games, won a Super Bowl MVP and a Super Bowl. A lot of quarterbacks can't say that. So if he continues on the trajectory that he is, barring injuries, barring him becoming a trash quarterback, which I don't think he is. When it's all said and done, I think he will surpass Brady as the greatest.
Here's the game I always like to play. It's one of my favorite games to play. It's the Would You Rather game, right? Mm-hmm. You play it in all different kinds of ways, right? We've all played with our friends plenty of times, but here it is. Would you rather have Tom Brady at his best or Patrick Mahomes at his best? And that should tell you who the better quarterback is.
Right now, I would have Brady at his best right now because the man, like I said, the one thing that Brady has over a lot of quarterbacks in this game is up here. He has this up here. He's seen it all. He's done it all. He's experienced it all. Consider the fact. Let's take away the accomplishments. Let's just take away what happened when he went down with the ACL injury. He came back and still produced. Because a lot of quarterbacks don't come back from ACL injuries and still be a great player. Right now, I would take Brady at his prime. I would take Brady right now, so I'm not faulting it. But you can't knock Mahomes for what he's done right now. And then on top of that, let's look at the fact that where he was picked. Nobody really expected Mahomes to be what he was at this point in his career because he wasn't even picked. I mean, I'm sure the Bears are kicking themselves for drafting Trubisky where they could have either got Deshaun Watson or Mahomes. So to see what Mahomes is doing right now, can't really deny it.
KC traded up to get Mahomes. They were still in the first round. It was still like 10th or 11th pick, I believe.
You know what? And I will say this, and my homeboy pointed it out. Mahomes could have been a Saint. And I'm glad he wasn't because the Saints was going to pick him. The Saints was going to pick him to kind of supplant Drew Brees when he retires. And I'm glad they did because I did not want to see that man twice a year.
So I agree, and it's insane. when I look at them both right now, when I see I'm on the same same mind path as you here is when I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes' trajectory.
Mhm.
I just see greatest quarterback of all time ran all over him, and Andy Reid has his he just has his way with quarterbacks, right? He gets the best out of every quarterback he's ever coached, right?
And you know what? And honestly, I know everybody talks about how John Gruden is the quarterback whisperer. I think Andy Reid has supplanted that and has taken that role as being the quarterback whisperer because you seen what he did with Donovan McNabb. You seen what he did with Kevin Cobb. You see what he did with Alex Smith. And now Patrick Mahomes. I mean, come on, man. The resume is there. The proof is there. I think Andy Reid is more of a quarterback developer than John Gruden is. Way better.
I think John Gruden is one of the most overrated people in all of football. But hey, that's just me personally. The fact,
well, you know what, and I totally agree with you because everybody talk about he won that Super Bowl. Everybody knows that was Tony Dungy's players that won that Super Bowl.
Tony Dungy's team that he
Tony
inherited, and then he just continued to destroy that team as he has done with every franchise he's gone to, and he's doing it with Oakland right now.
and you saw what he's doing in Las Vegas. You see what he's doing in Las Vegas. And the crazy thing about it is I had hope for the Raiders to make it to the playoffs, but you see it. And the fact of the matter is he's on the hook for 8 more years. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Here's my question that I want to, because I want to stay on this Tom Brady topic because I really enjoy it. This is also fun fact for all of you that didn't know. This is the first year that the team hosting the Super Bowl is actually playing in the Super Bowl. Tampa Bay. So my question is, damn, dude, really? How many quarterbacks have you seen take two separate teams to a Super Bowl? I don't think any have won with two separate teams, but has there been any to take two teams to the Super Bowl, or is that just a Tom Brady thing?
Honestly, you know what? I honestly say this. I think Tom Brady and LeBron James are in the same conversation. I think they're in the same conversation as far as being a generational talent and impact player. No matter where they go, they make a team great. So I've never seen that. And congrats to Tampa Bay for being the first team to play a Super Bowl in their home. So you got to give props. You got to give props when props is due. Don't get me wrong. I only troll Tom Brady because I want to piss their fans off. And honestly, it's always been that case because if you go into the Hodge Podge Sports Group, you know I'm always talking shit about LeBron or Brady just to piss their fans off, and it seems to always work. But I cannot deny what this man has done to the game and how he's contributed to the game and how he's played at 43, 44 years old, and he's got another team in the Super Bowl. You can't take that away from him at all. You can't.
No, he's brought something to a team that they haven't had in decades, and that's a winning mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And that can't be having a winning mentality and bringing somebody in onto your team that's used to winning and brings that winning culture. That word there is culture. It brings a winning culture to your team. That is huge, and it speaks volumes, especially when you have guys like Mike Evans saying he's grew up watching this guy and now he's catching passes from him. Like this is something, you know what I mean? Like that's huge.
And then honestly, you know what? You got to give credit to Bruce Arians as well, because I know we talk about John Gruden, we talk about Andy Reid. Let's give some credit to Bruce Arians as well, because he was. And you see what he did in Arizona when he had Kurt Warner and they took him to a Super Bowl. So, and my saying goes is this all the time: give roses to the people while they're still here. Definitely give Bruce Arians his roses, because that man, even though we don't talk about him amongst the Andy Reids and the John Grudens, that man has a great offensive mind. He had a great offensive mind in Pittsburgh. He had a great offensive mind in Arizona. And you see what he's doing in Tampa Bay. So give Bruce Arians his credit as well. And, you know, I know it's all about Tom Brady, but the fact of the matter is Bruce Arians is a great offensive mind as well.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. And it's funny, like the first couple of weeks we saw them working together, Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, and it was like, they're figuring each other out. They don't really know what their offense is yet. They're still trying to figure things out. And now they look like a well-oiled machine now on offense, right?
Definitely. They're peaking at the right time, and we all know how Brady gets in the playoffs. They're peaking at the right time, so definitely. I can't take that from Tom Brady at all. I mean, I troll his fans, but You know, if you take away what Tom Brady has done in his career, I mean, 14 NFC championship game, 14 championship games, his ninth or 10th Super Bowl. He's pretty much in LeBron James' rarefied air because
Yep.
it's hard. It's hard to make a championship game vice going to a Super Bowl and winning it consistently like that.
Yeah. And so with this, let's switch gears here. We're not really switching gears. We're still staying on football. I was going to maintain this full football show. With the KC game being basically over, they're down 17 with under 4 left. Buffalo looks like they're going to score again. I swear to God, I'm going to miss my parlay by 2 yards. Anybody, I took the over under on Allen throwing the ball was 305, and I took the over on it, thinking, Kansas City's horrible, and I'm going to miss it by like 3 yards.
Hey man, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Like I said, I lost money on Green Bay today, so I'm right there with you.
So my question is, with KC, we know it's going to be KC versus Tampa Bay at this point in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look at this question to you, give you the floor, and then I'll come back and answer when you're done. Is who do you think's got the advantage, and who do you think has the win, and why?
Me personally, right now, I'm still going with that team in Kansas City because you got to look at it like this. They played. I mean, yes, Tampa Bay made it to their first Super Bowl. Yes, Tampa will not make it to their first Super Bowl. They are the first team to play Super Bowl at their home. But we got to go back to when Kansas City and Tampa Bay played in Tampa, and basically KC went to work. So right now, I consider the fact that Mahomes looks like he's going to be Mahomes, and consider the fact that as much as Carlton Davis is talking trash about how Michael Thomas is trash, he needs to focus on Tyreek Hill because if I remember correctly, Tyreek Hill basically dogged him that whole game. You're like, Carlton Davis is going to have nightmares about Tyreek Hill these upcoming weeks before kickoffs. So, me personally, yes, we all know about playoff Tom. We all know about Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. But at the same time, I've seen Tom Brady lose in the Super Bowl. Eli Manning beat him twice, and Nick Foles beat him. You know, he beat him too. And we all know Patrick Mahomes. This is what I call Patrick Mahomes. When Patrick Mahomes get hot, I call it God mode. Shout out to DeAndre Hopkins for giving him that name on Twitter. But when Mahomes goes off, he activates God mode. And I think I'm not gonna say it's gonna be what it was when they played in Tampa. It's gonna be a close game, but I think that Mahomes is gonna make enough plays. He's going to make enough plays, and Tyreek Hill, I think, is going to have another great game. And then on top of that, Eclair came back, and then they got Le'Veon Bell, and then they got Darius Williams, who can pretty much tote the rock. So, me personally, I think the Chiefs will win, but it'll be like a 27-24 game.
Ooh, that's close.
It's going to be a close game. It's not going to be like what Kansas City did and they blew them out. It's going to be a close game because they're in Tampa. Tom Brady, Tom Brady's going to do Tom Brady things, but consider the fact that I think it's going to be close because the circumstances surrounding that whole scenario. But I think everybody talks about Mahomes and Brady, and rightfully so. But the matchup I want to see is Carlton Davis going to get over that hump and hold Tyreek Hill, because we all saw what happened when Tyreek Hill played Carlton Davis. He pretty much dressed him down in front of the whole nation.
And we also saw that after Marquez Valdez-Scantling got Davis today, Michael Thomas was quick to go to Twitter and react to that. Which, listen, my thing is, if you already got put on the couch, stay on that couch, boy. Like don't be talking.
Hey, that's why. Hey, look. That's why my Falcons haven't said anything, because they are sitting on the couch. But yeah, definitely.
You're sitting down. Davis isn't on the couch. My man goes through, so you can say anything you want to him.
Say anything you want. At that point, if you can talk, if you are in the Super Bowl or playing for a championship, you can talk all the trash you want. And Michael Thomas, well, you already know I got my whole thing about Michael Thomas, and I'm not trying to hold y'all for another hour or so. I could go in on Michael Thomas for another couple of hours on that one, but we're not going to do that tonight.
I call him Slant Boy for a reason, all right? Like, listen.
Hey, look, he's an over-glorified tight end playing wide receiver. That's my whole thing on that.
Anything you want to say about him, I'm going to agree. So we're going to move on. We're not really moving
exactly. On. Well, we're going to move on from that.
This topic.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think you're right. It's going to be really tough. I said this before that Patrick Mahomes is what Andy Reid wanted Donovan McNabb to be. And
I can agree with that. Yeah, I can agree with that.
McNabb was, for as good as McNabb was for all the years McNabb was so good, we can never say McNabb was great. McNabb was a good NFL quarterback, but he wasn't great. He didn't make
you know what? Coming from an Eagles fan, that says a whole lot because a lot of people, there are Eagles fans that I know, they hold McNabb in a very high regard.
Listen, I love Donovan McNabb.
Mm-hmm.
I'll defend him about being better than Tony Romo for as long as I live, but I will never say Donovan McNabb is a Hall of Fame quarterback, okay? Because he was good, but he wasn't great. He was bad decision making. He underthrew a lot of balls. He overthrew a lot of balls. He was given every opportunity to succeed. The only thing that they failed him with was Terrell Owens. The Eagles should have paid Terrell Owens and just ended that, and finished.
I've said it plenty of times again. Give that man whatever he wants because he was the reason why the Eagles got. I mean, the Eagles were good.
Yeah,
but he put up. That's why it always goes back to what I say about elite receivers. They could put you over the top.
Eagles were so good for so long because Jim Johnson's defense was so good, and McNabb,
shout out to Jim Johnson. Shout out to him.
Was so good at not turning the ball over.
True.
But then when the playoffs hit, and they played these elite offenses and these elite defenses, our defense would hold its own with Trotter, Dawkins, Hugh Douglas, all these big
Douglas, yeah.
All these
Asante, wasn't Asante Sammy on y'all team at that time too?
Later on, you want to get to Sheldon Brown, Lito Shepherd.
Hey, look, I'm still sour about the fact y'all beat us in the 04 NFC Championship. I'm still sour about that. So yeah,
always one of my favorite players. And then he got to come
play. Hey, Brian. Hey, look, Brian Dawkins. I love Brian Dawkins, man, but he pissed me off that whole game because he kept making plays.
So listen, as much as I loved him, Andy Reid's finally getting the best of Donovan McNabb that he never got from Donovan McNabb. Because Donovan McNabb would have been so much better. But he always came into camp chunky and had to lose weight.
That's true.
It didn't look like he really studied film because he always was misreading. And the common fact of him that it's now basically I think a fact at this point that he threw up in the huddle during the Super Bowl. I mean,
well, I don't know if you heard the YouTube story where Terrell Owens said that McNabb was partying a little bit too much. That's why, but I don't know.
Yeah, I love them.
Hey, look, I lived in Jacksonville for 4 years, so I know the party. Even though people don't talk about Jacksonville in the same air in the same breath as Miami or Tampa, you can get your party on in Jacksonville.
So yeah, I mean, it's funny because those are the only two I watched was the McNabb one and the TL one because they were going at each other. As an Eagles fan, I was drawn to it immediately. But that's what I was saying originally is like basically what you're seeing here with those two is that you're getting Andy Reid finally has his version of what he wanted McNabb to be in Patrick Mahomes. Definitely. And I see this him now being just the Bill Belichick and Tom Brady of the AFC. And I don't see how you're going to slow this team down even in the future. I mean, even Kelsey looks like a young chicken up there, and Tyreek Hill is a young. And the thing that you can never teach is speed, and he's got speed, and he's got hands. And Kelsey, you have the guy out there running tight end, running route tight end, like receiver.
I will say this: Kelsey is the best defensive. I know everybody talks about Kittle. I know everybody talks about Mark Andrews, but Kelsey is the best defensive, the best tight end in the game.
I agree, and I don't even think it's close. To be honest, I think as Kittle continues to play, I mean, Kittle was hurt all last year. This whole year, hurt.
Yeah.
Never say that about Kelsey. The name was Zach Ertz, my boy. He was hurt all last year.
Yeah. I like Zach Ertz, though. I like Ertz.
I think it's a depressing time in Philadelphia. We might have seen him and Jason Kelsey for the last time in Philly as they both might sail off into the sunset together. But that's hearsay. But I agree with you. I think Kansas City is going to beat Tampa Bay. I just don't see it being as close as you do. Mm-hmm. I think Kansas City is going to kind of do what they're doing today.
All the reason why I say it's close is because you can never count out Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. You can't because if you think about it. My question to you is this: have you ever seen Tom Brady get physically whooped in a Super Bowl, like physically dominated in the Super Bowl? I haven't seen it in all the Super Bowls he played in. I've never seen him. I mean the Falcons, but then we saw what happened. Have you ever seen Tom Brady get dominated in the Super Bowl?
No,
at all.
No, so, even the close one he won against the Rams. It's like
look at Carolina. When he played Carolina, and Vinatieri had to kick that field goal in the Carolina game. Yeah, he had to come back and win that. So I mean, I've never seen, even when he lost his Super Bowls, I've never seen him get dominated. Like, oh, Tom Brady's getting his ass whooped. Like, I've never seen that.
Yeah. You're not wrong. And that's, I don't want to say alarming or not, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens in 2 weeks. And I'm just hoping at this point Buffalo stops them and I can at least hopefully get 30 out of Josh Allen to start my parlay off right on the other.
Yes, Brian. Yes, Brian. I know you said Johnson 2007, but the Patriots still had a chance to win that game. Tom Brady never got whooped. He never got whooped. Like, yes, the Giants was putting pressure on him and beating him down, but the Patriots still had a chance to win.
Both the Giants' wins in the Super Bowl were on insane.
Eli Manning doing Eli Manning things, and that Tyreek catch. Like, I mean, I've never
sideline.
Yeah, I've never looked at the Super Bowl and say, "Oh shit, Tom Brady getting his ass whooped." Like, I've never seen that.
You've seen that with Peyton Manning though.
I've seen it with Peyton Manning. You've seen it with Aaron. Well, Aaron Rodgers won his Super Bowl. Go back to, but I've never seen Tom Brady say. I never go watch the Super Bowl and say, "Oh damn, Tom Brady getting his ass whooped." Like, I've never seen that. Because even when he was losing, he still had a chance to win.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, shit. Even against the Eagles, I mean,
It was the last the Hail Mary play where Gronkowski almost caught. Like, come on.
I'll tell you what. If he would have caught that, that would have been Philadelphia to a T. Right there. That would have been Philadelphia.
Hey, look. You see in my background, right? Like, we don't even have to talk about it. So I mean, you see what the Tom Brady did to us in Super Bowl 51. Like, I don't even talk about it anymore. Like, I know. So what you did? At least the Eagles won y'all Super Bowl. I'm still hurting from that one.
You guys paid up until 50 as hard as you did for so long.
Man, look, I just want one. I just want one before I get too old and senile to remember. I just want one for my teams.
That's how I was talking to my son the other day, and I was like, Logan, listen, you're lucky. You saw the Eagles win their first Super Bowl when you were 7. I was like, listen, your grandfather is 57 years old and just saw his first one.
Right.
I was like,
I'm 40 and I'm still waiting on the Falcons to win one. I'm 40 years old, so I'm still waiting.
I was 28 when the Eagles won their first one.
Hey, man, look. I
might not ever see one. I was like, if we're going to maybe when I'm 56.
And that's what it all goes back to what Tom Brady, with the conversation about Tom Brady being it's hard to win a championship by making it 10 times. It's hard. So to win it
of making the AFC champion. This is something I found amazing. LeBron James has a better percentage of making the championship game than Curry has of making a 3-pointer, or LeBron James has of making a free throw.
I mean, look at it. It's hard as being considered a great. Considered being a great, you have to look at that. So I look at guys like a Tom Brady, and I look at guys like a LeBron James, they're great in their own sport and they're consistent with it. So you can't take that away from neither one of them at all, because it's hard to make a championship. So to see guys consistently make it year in and year out, you gotta give them their flowers while they're still here. You really do.
That's what I said. I thought it was like just like that. That stat alone just like blew my mind.
Definitely.
Look at this. Like, he's probably, I don't want to say what his Super Bowl, but this is what his 15th year in the league, 16th year in the league, and he's been to the Super Bowl now
10 times. So 5 times. So 5 times he missed. 5 times he hasn't been, and out of those 5 times, the one time he didn't even make the playoffs because he was hurt, because he was injured. So that says a lot, because think about it. What's the average career in the NFL or any sport in general? What's the average career? What's the average? Like, what, 5 or 6 years at the most?
I guess would be the 5 or 6
years. 5 or 6 years. So to be in his 15th year, 5 of those.
I think it might even be longer than that.
Yeah, longer, 20 years. He's up there. He's up there with Rodgers and Brady. And consider the fact that all those 14 years he's been either in a championship game or compete for the Super Bowl. That says a whole lot right there. It really does.
I just want to, like, I got 19. Yeah, he's in his 20th season.
And 14 of those times he's either been in a championship game or competing for a Super Bowl.
That
says a lot. And the one time, and the one time he wasn't even in the conversation, because he was injured, and they almost still made the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
waving by now. He's waving by.
yeah,
Oh God! And I think with that, boys, I think we're gonna wave goodbye. We've
yep.
done. It's gonna be interesting as we said moving forward. I'm very, very much so. This is gonna be a good. I mean, you're gonna basically have the old school versus new school. Now, I
I
really thought.
said it.
I thought
Yeah,
we were gonna see the State Farm Super Bowl. I really
I
thought
thought
that.
I did too. I did too. I
Um,
did.
and let me also stay for anybody that was betting all year, and you're on my side. This is why you got to listen to my son, not me. I said that I was going to be the Bills versus Green Bay in the Super Bowl. As you can see, I was whatever.
Hey, at least I got one right. I got the teams going. I got one right. So at least
I was wrong. I was so
yeah.
far off. I was so far off. So far
Right.
off.
So my question to you just before.
Kansas City and Tampa Bay.
So my question to you is this: before we get off the air, where does I know Josh Allen? He didn't really have a good game. I mean, he did some things here and there, but does this kind of shake his confidence a little bit, or is he still going to be in that trajectory as a great young quarterback in this league?
The same thing happened to him last year in the playoffs, right? And
Yeah.
he got like this is what I'm saying. Like if you I've been watching it the whole time, is it doesn't seem like his offensive line's as good as they've been saying it is all year. Because it looks like he's getting rocked. Either that or they're running this Doug Peterson offense where they have a lot of slow developing plays. Because I'm just very confused on how you have Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs, and John Brown. 3 speedy guys, all good receivers. Why aren't you doing these quick slants or doing something to get the ball out of his hands quicker to keep this defense honest? This whole game I've been watching, and Allen is just getting beat up. And that's not for any winning system. You cannot have your quarterback continuously get rocked like this.
Mm-hmm.
But this again, like we were saying, the Kansas City's clicking at the right time. We'll see what happens moving forward. I think Buffalo knows that they could run it back with the same team. And I would pick them.
Absolutely, I agree. So does this kind of put him in the same category as, because I know a lot of people give Lamar Jackson flack for not showing up in playoff games. Does that kind of put him in the same conversation as Lamar Jackson?
He's gone further than Lamar Jackson in playoffs, right?
I understand that. I understand. I'm just looking at it as, he didn't show up when it counted. And granted, yes, he had a rough game today, but I know a lot of people give Lamar Jackson flack as well. I'm just kind of looking at it as a perspective as, do we give him the same energy that we give a Lamar Jackson?
I'm going to say no,
Okay.
because here's my thing: is Lamar Jackson last year didn't show up in the playoffs. This year showed up for the one game, then obviously got
Then he had the back. Yeah, I agree.
Same flex, right? Like last year, Josh Allen didn't show up for the playoffs. This year, Josh Allen's won 2 games, right? Won 2 games.
And he led him to AFC, but he ran to a buzzsaw. So I agree with you on that. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So Lamar had that same opportunity last year to get us to the AFC Championship game as the number 1 seed and failed. So I got it. Now, if Josh Allen fails out next year, then he's getting all the smoke just like Lamar Jackson's been getting. But I think you got to give him some kind of leanway here because he's in the AFC Championship game, and only 4 teams every year get to play this game.
Okay, and I got one more question to ask you too before we leave. And I think I've asked this before. We all know how great Aaron Rodgers is. We all know how great. We all know he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But with losing today, do the noise get louder with him as far as not getting over that hump? Because I know he won the Super Bowl about 7-8 years ago. Does the noise get louder because he is 1-4 in NFC Championship games? Does the noise get louder as far as him not getting his team over the hump to get to the promised land, which is the Super Bowl, and win it?
Like I said before, I think Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen play.
I agree.
He's the most talented guy I've ever seen play the position, and that Patrick Mahomes could take that spot. But I have to wait and see how it plays out for him. But I have to think that, if I'm going to be consistent and fair in my analysis on every other quarterback in the league, then I have to be consistent and fair no matter how much I like the guy, right? That's the way you have to tear it off sometimes, right? So if I'm going to kill Drew Brees for not being able to get to the Super Bowl and not elevating his team every single year, then I have to kill Aaron Rodgers the same way, don't I? And that's what I got to do. So
Okay.
this was his year, right? You're the number 1 seed. You're playing at home. You're 5-2 in Lambeau at home. You know, you have the fans in the stands. You have the weather. I don't know. The weather was what does I don't
Well,
think.
we all see Tom Brady play in cold weather, so that wasn't a factor to me.
I'm just saying, like,
It really is.
everything on your side, right? As a Green Bay player, as an Aaron Rodgers, as a quarterback, you had everything on your side. Now,
I agree.
Aaron Rodgers, like you said, did not have a bad game.
He didn't. He played a hell of a game.
When he,
But I will say this: there's a
when he
couple things
up,
there's a couple things he could have done to So I agree with you there.
like I said it earlier in the show here, is that the 3 turnovers, you got 6 points off of 3 turnovers, and 3 they were back to back to back. You got 6 points.
Like I said, remember? Did you see the clip where he was going down the defensive and he was telling the defensive players, "Give me a chance." They gave him 3. They gave him 3 chances. So I mean,
and it just seemed like they weren't. Maybe again, this could be play calling, but I didn't see Rodgers rolling out as much as I wanted to see Rodgers rolling out. It seemed like the LaFleur really tried to keep him in the pocket, which I don't understand why.
That's not his best strength. His best
roll
strength is roll him out the pocket. Out the pocket, let him see the field. Because I remember playing Madden 05, and when I had Aaron Rodgers, his vision was like looking like a damn window. Like it was huge. Like that was how he played. Yes, he's a pretty decent quarterback in the pocket, but when he gets out there, scrambles and surveys the field, he's probably one of the best to do it. You know, so
yeah.
Well, I think that the noise stayed the same because he lost 2. But the fact of the matter is, he's 1-4 NFC Championship games, and this was his first NFC Championship game that he hosted at home. The noise is gonna get super loud,
and I agree.
It's gonna get super loud. It really is because we tout Aaron Rodgers. We tout Aaron Rodgers as this great quarterback who can basically play like I said, I told everybody when Aaron Rodgers came out the womb, he said his first words were Green 19 when he came out the womb. Like he was born to play quarterback. So to see him lose it the way he lost today, considering the fact the defense did what he wanted them to do, it makes you wonder. I mean, seriously, like the noise will get loud, especially when the fact that he was surrounded with pretty decent weapons. Because Sean, you seen it. You know how the Green Bay front office was when they say, we got Aaron Rodgers. We got Aaron Rodgers, so we don't need to give him no help because he's Aaron Rodgers. This was the first time I could say that he actually had decent weapons and he had a pretty good defense. Yeah. And he still couldn't get it done. Like the noise will get super loud.
And that's where I think we have to really think about this is like every other year we've always been able to, I don't want to say make excuses, but we were able to
give him a pass. We gave him a pass.
Exactly. We gave him a pass.
Gave him a pass.
Lost in other areas that weren't Aaron Rodgers. But this year, those 3 turnovers, you got 6 points. You had opportunities to win this game and say, you know what? I'm going to show why I'm better than Tom Brady, and you didn't. And that's what I think is going to hurt him more than anything. Is like he had the receivers this year. He had a tight end. He had a good running back.
He had the weapons. He had the weapons to get over there, to get to Tampa. He had the weapons.
This was now can we talk about how the defense failed him a little bit? A little bit we can, like the 31.
Yeah, we can.
If you get
but I will say this: the defense, even though they failed, they still gave him opportunities to win it.
Yeah.
Yes, they gave up the bomb. They gave up the bomb. And then we can also talk about the players turning over the ball, like when they turned over the ball and then Tampa went and scored and it was 28-10. Yes, we know the defense failed them a little bit, but we gotta factor in everything else in this conversation because I don't know why the hell you're running man-to-man with a shallow 2. And Tom Brady's gonna go for the gusto. Like, I don't understand. Like, I saw, like, why are you gonna run the man-to-man with a shallow safety, knowing that Tom Brady's gonna go for the big one and they get it? Like, yes, I get you, Sean. I get you, and I totally agree with you. Yes, but at the same time, he doesn't get the whole donkey on this loss.
No.
We got
to. I got to think. Matt LaFleur got to answer me. This is
definitely
4th and goal,
and you kick the field goal. Why?
Field goal down 8.
Why?
Either way, you have to score a touchdown, right? No matter anything, look at it. You have to score a touchdown to win the game.
And on top of that, if you don't get the touchdown, you pin Tampa Bay deep.
Yeah.
Like I didn't understand that at all.
So basically, what you're saying is we're going to kick the field goal here and then score the touchdown. Nobody does it like that. You score the touchdown first, right? I'm scoring that touchdown.
Even if you don't score the touchdown, you pin Tampa Bay deep, and your defense is playing pretty good. Like,
but in my head, if I got Aaron Rodgers, right? This is my thought on my floor. I have Aaron Rodgers. I need to score this touchdown. I need to go for 2, and I need to get the 8, and then stop Tom Brady with the defense that's been playing well, and get this game back under control.
You know what? They went for the 2
left with the ball. You
true.
can't do
that. That's true. And they went for the 2, and then the dude dropped the ball. I don't care if it was tipped or not. The dude had it in his gut, and he dropped it. So I mean, I totally agree with you there.
Yeah.
I would have went for it. I would have went for it on 4th down, and even if I wouldn't have got it, my defense is playing good, and I got him pinned back. So yeah, Matt LaFleur has, just like Aaron Rodgers, got to ask the questions about that 3rd down play where he could have ran it in or at least got first and goal at the 1. Matt LaFleur has the same questions on why he has to kick that field goal on 4th and goal. Like, I wouldn't if I would have went for the gusto. Look, I'm gonna lose with my best. I'm gonna win with my best player, and I'm gonna lose with my best player.
Yeah, and I also got to know one other thing too. Is just like where was that penalty at that King got at the end of the game?
You know what? I will say this. It was the right call. Would I have called it as a ref? Absolutely not, because I've been letting him play all day. But it was the right call. I mean, he tugged on his jersey a little bit, and sometimes when you're in that position as a ref, you have to make a call.
Yeah,
but
the right call though.
He had to make the right call. But considering the fact they let them play pretty much hands on the whole game, yeah, that was kind of suspect. But I mean, it was the right call to make. As much as just like when I said last week about the Kansas City and Cleveland game where they had the collision and everybody said, oh, it should have been a flag on the guy because he went head to head. The dude was doing his job as a defensive player. What are you supposed to do? Let him score? It's the same thing. It's the same thing today. Sometimes as a ref, you got to make that call. As much as we disagree, as much as everybody else disagreed, I wasn't mad about it because it was the right call to make.
This might be the youngest owner I've ever seen. All right, well, I'm like looking at the Chiefs owner. I was like,
hey man, look, shout out to the Chiefs for making. I know Brian is happy. I mean, like I said, that's my pick to win it all again. But it's going to be, like you said, Sean, it's going to be old line versus young line. I think it's a bunch of storylines going into the Super Bowl. You got Mahomes versus Brady, which I think everybody wanted to see. It was kind of like LeBron and Kobe back in the day. Tyreek Hill versus Carlton Davis. We're going to see if Carlton Davis is going to talk that much smack this upcoming week to Tyreek Hill. It's going to be an interesting game, and Tampa Bay playing at home for Tampa Bay being the first team to play in the Super Bowl at their home. It's going to be interesting for these next 2 weeks.
Last thing before we leave, and I promise this is it because I got it's bugging me.
Hey man, we could talk all night, man. I mean, we good, man. We could talk all night, man.
What was the year we got robbed of seeing LeBron and Kobe? Was
2009 when the Magic beat them. When the Magic beat them, and they went to the finals. Then you see what happened. It was 4-1. That was the year it should have been Kobe versus LeBron because I wanted to see it. I mean, I saw Kobe go against a great in Michael Jordan, and I saw Kobe hold his own. That was the year it should have been LeBron versus Kobe, and I think it would have been a great series. That it should have been that 2009, 2010.
Got him his championship, which we ain't mad about that. I love Dirk. I'm happy he won his championship. I'll tell you, people on the playground used to tell me I reminded them of Dirk because I did that fadeaway jumper low post all the time.
Hey man, look, we could go all night about how great a run that was with Dirk did, and everybody said that LeBron should be the GOAT. I'm gonna say it right now. That 2011 NBA Finals disqualifies him from GOAT talk, but we're gonna talk about that another time because I can go all night with that one. So I know Sean said he's ready to go, so we're not gonna talk about that. But I'm just letting you know that was the greatest run in NBA playoff history. Consider the fact that he was almost down 0-2 against a great team in Miami, and the way he willed his team to a championship. You gotta give props to Dirk. You got to.
Dirk. I was so happy to see Dirk at that one, but that different story, different day.
Definitely.
Trey, I want to thank you, man, for hopping on with me. It's been
Hey,
fun.
man, no problem, man. No problem, man, at all, man. You know, I said I was gonna jump on with you guys. I mean, I wasn't really gonna do anything today, but consider the fact that I had a lot to say on my mind, and I didn't really feel like typing it on Facebook. I figured I could jump on and people can hear me. But I will say this: if you're not doing anything on Tuesday nights, I got my BFF Ladonna, I got my man Phil, it's myself and her husband Boom. Check us out on Red Cup Rants on Tuesday nights, man. I mean, we're kind of like the Hodge Podge. We kind of talk about sports. We talk about real life, and just have a good time, man. So I really appreciate Sean giving me this platform to come on. I appreciate Patrick, all those guys. Like I said, it goes beyond. It goes beyond the podcast thing. These guys are really great friends of mine. They are really awesome people. So check out Red Cup Rants and also check out Hodge Podge as well. It's a great show. I tend to watch it if I'm working or if I'm not. So they shooting in Kansas City. Damn, man, y'all. Oh man, come on, man. Like celebrate. But with that being said, that's all I gotta say. I appreciate you, Sean. I appreciate you, Patrick, man, and real talk, man. I appreciate the opportunity for you having me here.
Dre, thank you so much for coming on, man. Definitely go check his show out on Tuesday. And what's your other one you got on with on Mondays?
Oh, Mondays. This is more of a serious. This is more of a serious.
Times.
Yeah, this is more of a serious thing. We talk about men's health. It's called Breaking the Stigma with my brothers Dexter and Matt. We tackle the things that men don't want to talk about. We talk about mental health. We talk about marriage. We talk about relationship. Basically, what other men don't want to talk about, and we give them that safe space to be men and vulnerable. So yes, check us out tomorrow, same time as Red Cup Rants on Mondays, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Sean has checked in. Sean has watched, and he's inputted as well. So if you're not doing anything tomorrow, man, hey, check us out, man. We're trying to give men their safe space to be men.
Yeah. Like Jerry, appreciate you, man. Like I said, on his Monday show, I'm usually working, so I get to listen into that show and chime in. It's a real good listen. Easy way to go through your day and listen to that, and they give you really good advice on what to do and how to, break the stigma, as they would say.
Definitely.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. This has been another episode of the Hodge Podge Sports Show. We will see you next week, same time, same place, with Patrick Hodge to my left or to my right, whichever one of us gets on first to do this.
Hey, who knows? Who knows? I might come back again. Who knows? If they need me, I might come back.
Welcome. Always welcome.
Definitely.
See y'all later. Have a good night.
Definitely.